My name is Liv Caldwell, and I'm an example of someone who's kind of failed at retirement more than once. Before I experienced that, I worked in the church as a church educator. And then I taught at McCormick Theological Seminary for about 30 years, and after I moved to Nashville, I was still failing at retirement. So I taught as an adjunct at Vanderbilt Divinity School for about 7 years. I think I finally figured out retirement, which means there are things I can still do that I love. And I have more time to do them. So I really enjoy quilting. I enjoy gardening. I enjoy baking bread. I enjoy cooking for family and friends. And now I find that I enjoy writing. It really is a wonderful use for my time and my energy. I enjoy writing books for children. And now the chance to write a book for adults that will help you think about how you move through Lent. I am so glad that you're going to be reading Pause, Spending Lent with the Psalms. And perhaps you might be wondering, well, why am I going to read a book on Psalms during Lent? Isn't that a time when we focus on the life of Jesus? Well, as I thought about this book, I realized that there are just a lot of books out there on Jesus' life that we read about during the Lent. And oftentimes in worship, we hear those stories of Jesus. The psalm is read, but we don't often get a time to engage it or to think about it or to reflect on it. And I love the Psalms, but I think we just don't get much time. So I thought, well, what if we pull out a psalm and look at that each week during Lent? One of the things you might want to remember as you begin this study is to know that the Psalms are a collection of hymns in our Bible. They were written and used in the temple. They were sung by pilgrims on their way to Jerusalem, and you'll be learning more about that in each of the chapters as you look at a different psalm. But they are originally poetry, a collection of hymns. And one of the lovely things that you might think about doing would be noticing in your hymn book that there are many of these psalms that we actually sing in worship, and you can look them up by the number of the hymn. So enjoy thinking about how these Psalms that you'll be reading are also can be put to music, can be sung, and they're also poetry. In this study, you'll have a chance to hear Psalms that are read during the season of Lent. You'll have a chance to engage in some contemporary biblical scholarship that invites you to learn more about the form of the psalm and how it was used and heard by its first audience. You'll have a chance to focus on selected verses from the psalm and see how they're heard in different translations and paraphrases. And then you'll have a chance to wrestle with the psalm and its meaning for your own personal life of faith. This study also offers you a chance to engage in a spiritual practice. You'll have a chance to try some spiritual practices such as breath prayers, a prayer that you can say in one breath, or following paths or labyrinths, or the ancient spiritual practice such as the examen, Lectio Divina. You can use this book in several ways. One is you could choose to read it individually for your own meditation, learning during Lent and Holy Week. Reading it with a friend might be a fun way to go through Lent with someone who doesn't live near you. Say perhaps that friend that you maybe talk to with a FaceTime once a month who lives far away, or a family member even. You could read it together and then get together and try the spiritual practice. Another way this book can be used is with groups. You can use this as a discussion in your church, in varieties of settings. It could be a community study wherein several churches come together, different denominations even, that might want to learn more about the Psalms and be together during Lent. There will be digital downloads available on the website with questions for reflection and discussion. Questions for discussion are also included in the book. And I'm really pleased and excited by some digital images that are created by my artist friend, Lee Aiken, who is the creativity manager at the Westminster Presbyterian Church in San Diego. And she has created some wonderful images for each of the chapters in the book. And I hope you'll find a chance to visit those and perhaps use those for your own engagement with the psalm or in your discussion with a group. I really do hope you have time in your busy life to rush to pause with the Psalms.